Vanakkam. Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to everyone, and thank you for taking time on a Saturday morning to attend this event. I'm Ilavaragan Murugan, and I'll be the discussant for the event today. Now, let us welcome Dr. Chua. I'd like to thank Dr. Chua on behalf of CSTC, NLB, and all of you for accommodating this talk amidst his extremely busy schedule. A few important pointers about Dr. Chua. A distinguished doyen of Chinese opera, he has written over 30 plays on Chinese operas, and these have been performed in over 31 countries. He has led or been involved in more than 100 overseas performances by Singapore Chinese opera troupes. He has been credited by his peers as having expanded the boundaries of traditional Chinese opera to include a multiracial cast. Dr. Chua started his career as a Chinese opera reviewer for the Sinchu Jitpo, a Chinese medium newspaper in Singapore. In the early 1980s, he became the advisor to Chinese opera troupes. And interesting, he learned the Indian dance from late Mr. K.P. Bhaskar, the founder of Bhaskara Arts, a renowned fine arts practitioner in Singapore. Dr. Chua realized that arts could harness the beauty of multicultural experiences. It reinforced his belief that Chinese opera need not be just for the Chinese. In his own words, he says, Mr. Bhaskar taught Indian dance to many Chinese Singaporeans, including myself. And when I was a student, Chinese boys would perform Malay and Indian dances in school. This is representative of Singapore's multicultural heritage and has influenced my perception of what Chinese opera can be to others outside of Singapore. Over the course of his long career, Dr. Chua has adapted well-loved epics and folk legends like Ramayana, Mahabharata, Tale of Bukit Mera, Monkey King and the White-Boned Demoness with interesting cultural twists. In his version of Ramayana, the scene is set not in India or Ayodhya or Kosla, but in ancient China. In Mahabharata and Tale of Bukit Mera, the performers wear Indian and Malay traditional costumes. The original names of characters are retained, while the music and songs are Chinese opera style. His tryst with Ramayana started when he witnessed Ramayana as a Wayang Kulit and a Wayang Wong performance as a boy in Jakarta. Then Dr. Chua has staged it as a Teochew opera, which was premiered at the Stuttgart International Theatre Festival. He rewrote this play as a Liu Yuan opera, Hokkien opera, Huang Mai opera, and Wu opera, and they were performed in countries like China, Hong Kong, Indonesia, Iran, Italy, India, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, New Zealand, Thailand, and United States, so many countries. He is the founding director of the Chinese Opera Institute of Singapore, encouraged by the then chairman of the National Arts Council, Mr. Tomiko, who had wanted to revive the art form. As an adjunct professor, he has taught Southeast Asian theatre at Xiamen University in China and at the National Academy of Film and Theatre in Hanoi. He acts as an advisor to no less than 14 Chinese opera troupes. In 2006, Dr. Chua also founded the Asian Puppetry Association. He produces and writes scripts for the puppet shows. In 2010, he edited comic books on Chinese opera for children and a series of books on Chinese opera. He feels it's important to write on different aspects of Chinese opera to enable more people to appreciate the art form. I can go on and on and on as his glowing resume refuses to stop growing. Due to time constraints, I'll pause here on his resume with one of his important statements about art beyond and above borders. The art form need not be restricted by ethnicity. And this is a guiding statement for everyone trying to break boundaries. He has always been moved by the power of arts to tell universal stories that are understood across cultures and countries. And coming to today's talk, Ramayana and Mahabharata are two most famous epics of India, respected along the same vein as Iliad and Odyssey from Homer. Originally written by Valmiki in Sanskrit, there are many versions within India itself, including those of Kamban in Tamil and Tulsidas in Hindi. There are also versions spread out across Southeast Asia, including the Thai, the Javanese, the Balinese, the Laon version, and many more. To the uninitiated, Ramayana is the story of the prince of the prosperous kingdom of Ayodhya or Kosla, ruled by King Dasaratha. Dasaratha had 3 wives and 4 children. The eldest and crown prince Rama is bade to go to the forest by his stepmother, Kaigeyi or Keikayi, so her son Bharata would become king. Rama leaves for the forest with his wife and another brother, Lakshmana or Lesmana. In the forest inhabited by demons and monsters, Rama is approached by Surpanaka, the sister of the Asura king Ravan. Rama ridicules her approaches, and Lakshmana cuts off her nose and mutilates her. Angered by this insult and to avenge his sister, Ravana kidnaps Sita when Rama and Lakshmana are out hunting a mysterious golden deer. He imprisons her in his kingdom. Rama and Lakshmana search for Sita, and with the help of the monkey king Sugriva and his able general, the famous Hanuman. Following many trials and tribulations, Rama finally defeats Ravana and saves Sita. In script writing, Christopher Booker says there are only 7 basic plots, and the plot of Ramayana includes the concept of voyage and return, and triumph of good over evil by overcoming the monster. These are universally relevant and applicable truths that can transcend cultures and ethnicity. And here, Dr. Chua has just done that. I'm very eager to hear from Dr. Chua on his experiences and his journey on how he retold Ramayana in Chinese. With great pleasure, let us invite Dr. Chua.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming to join us this morning for this talk organized by the Center for Singapore Tamil Culture and the National Library Board. In this talk, I will share with you my joy and challenges of presenting the Ramayana into different genres of Chinese opera in Singapore, China, Vietnam, and Cambodia. We had done many different versions over the years. When I was a child in Jakarta, I watched the Wayang Kulit doing Ramayana again and again, at temples, following my late mother to the temples in Jakarta as well as in Central Java. And so I also saw the Wayang Wong version in the theaters, like in Gedung Kesenian and other places where they frequently performed the Ramayana in Wayang Wong style. And also, of course, Wayang Golek form of the Ramayana. So this childhood memory, allows me to have the basic ability to connect, with the virtue of these experiences. But then I will also talk about how, very briefly, how Mr. K.P. Bhaskar's Butterfly Lovers inspired me to want to do similar thing. Actually, I saw the Butterfly Lovers in 1958 when I was in the primary school with my grandmother, and I was so amazed by the way the story is retold in the Bharatanatyam, and I tell myself, wow, this is great. Maybe I can do the same. Taking the Ramayana that I saw in the various forms and make it a Chinese opera performance. Because from young I was also following my grandmother to see many Chinese operas at the temples in Singapore. After I moved to Singapore when I was 4 years old, and then later on, Madam Leong Hao Chan, a Chinese dancer who learned Malay dance, she actually made a Malay dance drama called Ali and Fatima, and of course, there were Panji, and Indonesian folk tales that were in the Malay movies. So this is all very interesting for me. By the way, Ali and Fatima was staged in 1959 and restaged, in 1960, and again restaged by Sri Warisan of Somsai's group in 1977. So you can see that all our cross-cultural productions by dancer, by opera makers, by filmmakers, in the 50s, showed the Singapore multiculturalism in various forms, and uh, and uh, and the different art forms of Ramayana of Indonesia. When they present the Ramayana stories, they actually showcase the uniqueness of each of the form, like Wayang Wong, the Arus and Gagas role types are presented, to the fullest. Um, and you can, by the 70s, you can see Ramayana perform in all the five-star hotels in Indonesia, Hotel Indonesia, and the hotels in Jogja and Bali. Every night, they perform it for tourists. So I also went to see these performances and realized that there are differences in the way they presented Ramayana. And then, of course, there were many storybooks like this in the bookshelves, in the Jakarta bookshops when I was in my primary school days. So I bought all of them and read them again and again. And there are other versions, of course, but this is the version that I got it, I think, when I was 11 or 12 years old. And this is actually formed the basis of the plots that I use in my Chinese opera. And but my first Chinese opera presented in Chinese was when I was an undergraduate at Nanyang University. I was also a member of the Children Playhouse, where I was assigned by our mentor, our teacher, the founder of the Children Playhouse, Mr. Tia Mong Tek. He was a RTS producer. And so he said, well, during the school holiday, all of you can tell story or present anything that you created for your fellow members of the playhouse. So I thought, oh, it might be good for me to. I have a large collection of the Wayang Kulit puppet, so I use the puppet and that I have, to present it as a Wayang Kulit style. So I begin with 在很久很久以前，有一个叫做科萨拉的王国。这个王国国泰民安，是由国王Dasarata 统治。So, for many of my also school children's audience, they were fascinated by the way the Wayang Kulit tells story and also by the story itself. And then, I presented the Princess Jasmine in Wayang Wong and Wayang Topeng style, and Javanese as well. We received the Best Production Award in 1984 Drama Festival. So I think, since my Indonesian styles story is well received by the audience, let me try Ramayana then. So in the next few years, I started to borrow books from the library, and also when I visited India with Mrs. Sadalingam in 1983, I also went to the bookshop in Madras, and I bought many more books on Ramayana. And I'm so happy to note that actually many of these books are in our National Library. So in the 1991, I have the opportunity to go to Beijing to attend a big international international festivals and conference on traditional theater. And very fortunately, I met Professor Ji Xianling, who has translated books on Ramayana and Mahabharata. And then I started to look at these Chinese books, and to see how they are differ from the Indonesian version I have read. And in the Chinese version, the theme emphasized on the love between father and son, husband and wife, brothers, friends, and so on. And so I think that, hey, maybe when I create the Chinese opera, I should keep all these points that Professor Ji Xianling raised in his writing. So I seeing the possibility of creating a children play based on Ramayana. So I came up with the idea of gathering a small group of students from NUS. They are from different departments, chemistry and English language and so on, as well as Nanyang Girls High School. Why Nanyang Girls High School? Because I have been teaching drama in the Nanyang Girls School. So I gathered them and formed a bilingual group called Arts and Acts. So, and we started to prepare for the adventure in the forest. Telling the story of how Rama in exile in the Dandaka forest. Okay, let us have a look. This is my Wayang Wong style's Ramayana. And because I learned Javanese dance when I was young, I was a student of Pak Humadani from Solo. I learned Surakarta style Javanese dance. So I went to my teacher, say, teacher, I want to do Ramayana in Wayang Wong style and using the Javanese dance movement as well. And Pak Humadani was very, very happy to say, well, Soo Pong, I'll get the costume for you, full set, So I follow him to go to the shops in Solo as well as in the art academy, and the teacher said that don't buy outside. Our academy will make for you at very special rate. So I had a full set of the Ramayana costume. So at the center it was Jatayu. I had to change Jatayu as a girl. And not the king of bird, but queen of bird, because this is the student I have, and on the right hand side is Barata, yeah, and the left hand side is Johnson Chu. He was with NUS at that time. Later on, he became have been working for NUS to narrate all the documentaries for many years. He's an excellent student and a very good actor. Okay, so the premiere at the Young People's Theatre Festivals was a great success at Victoria Theatre, full house for 2 nights in 1988. And then somebody, I think from Japan, saw the production at Victoria Theatre. He's connected with the Toyama International Children Theatre Festival. So after the show, he came to me and said that, well, are you the director and the scriptwriter? We would like to invite you to Japan, And so I was very happy. And then we actually raised funds, to get there, although they pay for the board and lodging. And there were 24 groups from all over the world. And we were the second prize winner. We got a silver award. And that was great encouragement. I said, well, I should, since Johnson and all the others of my cast speak English as well. So I said, we'll do it in English for Hong Kong and for New Zealand. So we translated the whole script. And I think Dr. Iran, you have the and Arun, you have the script, that I have forwarded to you. So we performed in New Zealand and Hong Kong, and it was really very, very well received. In fact, many New Zealanders were touched by the theme of the story and also the style, which is the Wayang Wong style, by a Singaporean, young people's group. So that was Adventure into Forest, the Chinese version that we performed in Victoria, March 12 and 13. And this is the script. For those who want to read the script, you can go to the SPAFA website. It was published in the SPAFA journal. SPAFA means the Southeast Asian Minister of Education Organization, Regional Center for Archaeology and Fine Arts. Is a very long name. Archaeology and Fine Arts, SPAFA. Okay, so you can see that they are all in Javanese costume that I got from my teacher with the help of my teacher, Pak Humadani. After done this, I say that, well, this is in the drama, form. Maybe because I had gained a lot of knowledge through watching thousands of operas with my grandmother. And I started to also read about Chinese opera and similar forms in Southeast Asia, like the one called New in Thailand. And Princess Rinton actually encouraged a Chinese opera practitioner called Zhuang Meilong to adapt Chinese opera in Thai language, called New. So I said that maybe one day I will do a Chinese opera version. And then the time comes, when we were invited by Stuttgart International Festivals in 1991, I thought this is the time to do a Chinese opera, do a Teochew opera version, because I work closely with the Taoyong Amateur Music and Music Association with Madam Lin Sun Hyang. And when I told her, well, shall we together do a Teochew opera version? And Lim Sun Hyang is very receptive to the idea. He said, yes, let's do this. That would be the first time the Teochew opera audience get to know Ramayana. So the Goethe Institute invited us to perform at the auditorium there, where Mr. Gua Chun Guan was also the guest of honor to attend the performance. And Mr. Gua was very encouraging, said that this is great. You are going to bring this to Stuttgart? I say, yes, we're going to go to Stuttgart. And of course, for the German audience, it was the first time to get to know the Ramayana story. But as the story adapted in my opera, it happened in ancient China. Okay, I will get back to that later on. And then, 4 years later, we were invited to Thailand for the king's enthronement for the 60th anniversary of the king when he became when he became the king. So it was a big celebration. And I tell you, when we performed in Bangkok at the Thailand Cultural Center, it is a 1,200 seated auditorium. All right. And during the festival, there were Indonesian, Cambodia, and Thai's group, Myanmar group. But for the first time, they see in Chinese opera that, style, they were very, very fascinated. And in fact, the press, the Bangkok Post and other, cover our news most and giving the biggest space in the festival special supplements. And when we were in Thailand, there was the earthquake and all that. I will tell the story another time. When I adapted it into a Chinese Teochew opera style, I have to pay attention to the role types. 生旦净丑, like Javanese dance, like they have the role type, like the gentle type, the aggressive type, and the non-human, like the monkey and others. So in Japanese kabuki, they also have role types. I understood from Mr. Bhaskar, my teacher. In Kathakali too, there are role types. So how do I put the different characters in the story into different roles is something I have to think about. Who is the comedian? Supanaka and Maricha. Who is the aggressive painted face? Of course, it's Ravana. And also we have Sugriva and Subali. Also as the Jing, the painted face type. Yeah. And the Tan, of course, the female is the Sita. Yeah. And then in Chinese opera, there are four very specific trainings in singing, in action, meaning acrobatic action, as well as the gender movement, like the Rama, yeah, and Rama's teachers, and so on. So you put these role types for the different characters is something that I have to think about. And then, of course, in Teochew opera, there's the backup singing. When I put the backup singing in during the shows, yeah, the backup singing is also in Wayang Wong, yeah. There's a chorus singing, when they narrate the story that in the long journey to the forest, the Dasarata, no, not Dasarata, the Dandaka forest. So they describe the journey in the song. So this is the Teochew opera style, not by the Taoyong, but by the Chinese Opera Institute. And we have the child, a boy, doing the Golden Deer. And we have also, the painted face, the Ravana and Sita, and Supanaka, as you can guess. And this is the Bharata, yeah, okay. And who is that? That's Supanaka, okay, and Rama. So we have, I'm sure in the Indian version you had Pasaram, yeah. So Pasaram and King Janet, there was a dialogue there, so we have that. Am I right, Dr. Iran?
Yes, Dr. Chua. It's a
Yeah.
very important scene after the breaking of the bow.
Right, indeed. So I adapted that scene. And so when we were in Khajuraho and some Indian audience came to say, it's very good, your story is very close to ours, the original Ramayana. Okay, next one. Now, so in the Teochew opera, also I had to select, the correct traditional melodies for different scenes. So that I have to select these songs when Sita was in prison. So it's very lyrical, very sad, songs. And then I have to use the percussion for different scenes, for the battle scenes, as well as to have the very quick and intense percussion when Ravana and Jatayu was fighting, as well as when Hanuman brought his army to cross the ocean and to fight Ravana. So the transformation has to suit the style. As early on, Dr. Iran had introduced, I adapted for different genres of Chinese opera. Yeah, Teochew opera is 600 years. You also have the 800 years Li Yuan opera, which I also adapted it in 1977 for the Xiangling Musical Association in Singapore, and we premiere in Monaco at the Monaco Festival when Princess Caroline came to see the performance. And also we when I adapted as a Wu opera, which is 400 years old, then we have to have the whole new set of music, to put it into the different songs of the character. And then later I did it in Cantonese opera style. we have to make changes accordingly. Now, this is the opera style, Hanuman. So it is wearing the white costume. This is the acrobatic scene, and then the next one, and we have the Hanuman again. Yeah, okay. So how about Singapore? All these term in yellow color were the Singapore groups that have performed Ramayana. Can you imagine? There were 7 of them. I hope that one day the Hainanese and the Year Opera will also do this. Then we have all the genre in Singapore had done that. And of course, this is only Singapore, not including the China one. China have the Opera, the Beijing Opera, the Cantonese Opera had adapted it as well. And I'm so happy that this opera not just performed in China, but also performed internationally. Okay, the next one. Let us see how they look like. Before I show you the video, I want to talk about the role types that I have mentioned. There are also subdivision, for example, Maricha is the male clown, right? Sumanaka was a female clown. So their performances are differ in the way they do their movement. And Rawana and Maricha, although they are both monster, because they are different role types. One is the painted face type, yeah, the aggressive type. One is a clown, and therefore in the makeup, in the movements, we also have to make adjustment accordingly. Now, because Chinese opera is the total theater, I have to actually make sure that all the different elements, music, dance, movements, dialogues, like Malay Bangsawan, the dialogue has to deliver in a stylized way, and every genres of Chinese opera is slightly different. So we have to take care of that during the creative processes. And the third is Wen Xi and Wu Xi. Now, in some Chinese opera, the whole show is just songs, mainly songs and acting, without the acrobatic scenes, right? In some Chinese opera, it's just Wu Xi, it's just the acrobatic movements, not much singing or no singing at all. Like 大战燕丹山, no singing at all. But Ramayana allow us to use both the Wenxi and the Wuxi, because you need the acrobatic scenes as well as the singing scene. Okay, let's watch the video. Kakai evicts Rama.
难道你要做一个错二犯二子的气面，
This thing, the one in yellow glove is the King Dasarata. This is Queen Kakai. And on the right is Rama and Sita. On the left is Bharata and Lakshmana. This is the Wu opera. Wu opera is the mother of Beijing opera. Can you imagine? So it's a very ancient form in Zhejiang province. So in 2008, I was invited by the Wu opera in Zhejiang to direct, to adapt Ramayana for them. So I said I need to get to know the actors well. So I followed them to the villages when they were performing. So this is one of the performance in the village. So I want to see the technique and the skills they have, so I can adapt it accordingly. And then within 12 days, I finished the rehearsal. Why I can do that? Because I send them all the email first. They have to read Ramayana, to read the translation of Professor Ji Xianling. So they know the story. Then I give the ideas of my the director notes to them way in advance. They learn. I communicate with the composer, and then by emails, and then tell that each song is for what, and then so she sent back the composition and make comments, and all the actors learn all the songs before my arrival, and the orchestra had practiced the music. So in 12 days, we finished the big show of 2 hours. Can you believe that? And immediately, we get invitation from Pohang. Pohang is a university town in the eastern part of Korea. We did this brochure very quickly, and we performed there. It was an open air show, and that night was raining. We thought that, oh my goodness, there'll be no people coming. But there were 2,000 people came with their umbrellas, and when the rain stopped, when Rama rescued Sita, then the rain stopped. It was amazing. So we are very happy, and this is Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana. Now we have the golden deer part by their company. Let's see. So, you've noticed that the golden deer is a girl, right? You notice that, right? But I tell you, in different version, I have to use different actors or actress, because it depends on the skill. If the skill is not up to what I demand, then I have to, use a man or a female. Yeah. Sometimes I use a child, but the first time I did it as a Hokkien opera, Mrs. Baska suggested that, why don't you use my girl? She's very good. So in that version, our goldener is totally a Bharatanatyam dancer. So this is Korea, so we have that all the lyrics translated into both Korean and English for the audience. We have also Vietnamese and also other languages when we perform Bahasa Indonesia as well. And actually, Mr. Jokowi was the guest of honor with Ambassador Ashok at our show. This is the female golden deer. Now, this is a Beijing opera version. That day, you can see the Hanuman's wearing the wrong color because there was an accident. Because during the interval, he drank tea, and then then there was coffee, and then it spilled into his white pants. So unfortunately, we had to change to the red color. To me, this is not acceptable, because they say you cannot have to have 2 pairs of white pants next time. Okay, I like this photo because why? Because the left is Ravana, the right is Maricha. Look at the painted face; it's very, very well painted, excellent makeup. Now, the next video, Sita, was captured, and Jatayu is a man this time. Now look at this. This Beijing opera shows it's very grand. You can see the grandeur of the sky. After all, Beijing opera was born in the palace during the Qing dynasty. That's Sita. They cannot find Sita, only find the water bottle.
前人只留下荒扫的活石头魔王，快吱声！你这厮活得好不耐烦，待我送你见的阎王。好。
So that was the Beijing Opera Styles, which they actually won 6 awards at the Vietnam International Theatre Festivals in 2017. Okay, so you see, you can see that, you know, when I did the Beijing Opera Style, it took a slightly longer time because the first trip was 10 days, and then the second trip was 10 days. Because you know, the music was not quite right, you know, so we have to rewrite some of the melodies. So it took a longer time, but it was rewarding because at the end, you know, they won so many awards in the festival. It was the group that won the biggest numbers of awards. Okay, I want to show that this is the Cantonese opera style. So Cantonese opera style, the Kakai is dressed, you know, like this as the warrior, yeah, because she actually saved the life of King Dasaratha during one of the wars. That's why Cantonese opera's styles, we decided that let her wear the warrior's costume, and it was good. That was the stage that gave the golden bell for that is the Cantonese opera Supanaka, yeah. Now this is the one that we perform at Surakarta during the Surakarta's festival organized by President Jokowi when he was the mayor of Solo. So this Supanaka is very different from the Cantonese styles, as you can see. And then, you know, that is the next few photos are the photos of a project that I did for the China ASEAN festivals. I was invited as the chief consultant and also the producer of the Ramayana presented by 4 countries artists: Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, China, 5, as well as Philippines. So that is Rama and Sita, very young, from the academy. That's Golden Deer, you know, a girl. Okay, that's a very beautiful scenes of the Golden Deer, and you see, this is Javanese style, Jogja style, not Surakarta style, and of course not Badini style. Now, very skillful. Now that is Rawana, you know. They use the sampu, you know, the string dance a lot. There is the cloth, you know, the cloth they use to free when Ravana saw his anger. Okay. Now that is, look at the bird, look at the Jatayu. It's a very different Jatayu, and the costume is very bulky, not easy to move. So it's very different from the Chinese opera styles. Jatayu, we have a lot of acrobatic movement, but theirs is different. Yeah. Okay. Now Jatayu and Rawana, you can see that the fighting is very different. When I did the Wu opera style, I actually look at this book as well. So this is the Xiongling, the one that we perform in Monaco. Okay, the next one. Yeah. Then we also have the Hokkien opera style. Now that is the highlight of our Ramayana. You know, in the year 2000, we were so happy that we were invited by the Indian Council for Cultural Relations. We thought that was a great honor because we are going to India. So the ICCR, provided us the Air India ticket, and we were in all the 4 cities we toured. It was in 5-star hotels, except Chitrakoot. Okay, let me tell the story. That was in Taj Mahal. We went there as well. We went there just for the photo shoots. Then we attracted a lot of tourists who came to take photo with us. And the 1 hour stopover became 3 hours. Okay. Go back to I must tell one story again. You know, when we were in Khajuraho in front of the temple, right? About 3,000 people there. It was a full moon night, and the cloud covered the moon when Sita was captured, and the moon appeared again when she was rescued. You know, very funny. Okay, then we did the Hokkien opera style, and running out of time, so I will go faster. Then we then have an English version, because the Guangyang Primary School's teacher in charge said, "Hey, I knew about your Ramayana. It's so nice. Can we do it in English for our primary school children?" I said, "Yes, I have the English script. No, I have the script." So we did it in English for a multiracial cast. And then Bukit Panjang Secondary School approached me to say that they want to do Ramayana as well, because they saw the Guangdong Primary School version. So we did, and later of CHIJ, and we were commended by Mr. Taman, he was the Ministry of Education for the Bukit Panjang Secondary School show, and then the Toa Payoh CHIJ. Now let's see the last video. Hanuman. A very skillful actor. Star was shocked. Who is that? Don't be afraid. I'm sent by Prince Rama. Come and rescues you. Look, this is from Prince Rama. Now let's hear a little bit of singing. Indeed, this is from my beloved husband. Now the big battle. Lakshmana and Rama. Ravana. The choreography for the battle scenes is different each time, because it depends on the skill of the actor. So when whatever ingredient you have, then you can put the dishes you want. This group, the Beijing Opera Group from the Henan province, very gifted in their acrobatic, performances. But the Wu opera are equally skillful. Okay. Look at this. Look at this. Again, look. All right. I'm running out of time, so I will quickly run through the next few slides, then I'll end it. This is to show you just some. This is the Italian one. We went to perform in the Italian opera house, 300 years of opera house, CHIJ student, and Hokkien opera very quickly. Yeah. Now you can see the makeup is different, yeah. That is Osaka University, and that was Hanuman and Sita. And you should look at the Teochew Opera Ramayana and the Beijing Opera Hanuman. The Ramayana, very different makeup, yeah. Jatayu, Ramayana. This is the youngest Rama, the Bukit Panjang, not the youngest, but the Bukit Panjang High School's Rama. He was 15 years old, 15. And then you see Sita is a Malay girl. You can see the king, Dasaratha is an Indian boy. Okay. This is Ambassador Zhang Hengwen. We have also a multiracial Ramayana. And that was me as Maricha. The Singapore example actually reflects the similar paths artists in the region had taken. For long-term success, artists must explore opportunity to drive innovation based on their traditional knowledge. and we all need to study our traditional culture thoroughly and look beyond resources we have and innovate. So that this is also for cultural diplomacy. That was at the Thai National Theatre, and now this is the end of the talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chua. That was interesting, inspiring, and illuminating. It was so colorful, and the feast for eyes and minds alike. It was really a treat to all the senses. Now, let me start the ball rolling by asking the first question. Prof, translating an epic to another language and transforming it for theatre are two huge processes. So, what are the important elements in terms of plot or characters or characterization or dynamics or emotions that you will want to ensure that it is not lost in the transcreation process?
Well, I think in the translation, you see, because it's Chinese opera, so we have to write the lines, in a lyrical form, retain the content and also the characters, spirit. So this translation is challenging because it also have to be in rhyme, So all the lines have to be in rhyme. So you have to it's not an easy work, because in each genres of Chinese opera, because the pronunciation of Cantonese and Teochew are all different, and Beijing opera, so each time you have to rewrite the lines, although the meaning will be the same, but you have to rewrite because to make it in rhyme. The other thing is that, as I say, that during the creative process, you have to encounter the different set of actors who have different skills, right? So for the various group, I must say that most of them are very well trained, so I don't have much problem in that. But it was the music, you see, because sometimes I felt that for example, the Ramayana also have a songs when he was pursuing Sita to marry him. All right, so it is he has to be actually in a way very so his friendliness, and that he's keen to make her the queen of his kingdom. So they have to write a song that express that feeling, and yet not losing that kind of the strong characters style. So these are some of the challenges. Also, that for example, the dance too. See, the golden deers, whether it's Bharatanatyam or Chinese dance or balletic movement, we ought to take all this into consideration.
It sounds very interesting. I mean, it's like a very beautiful challenge to face. Dr. Chua, there's another question that I wanted to ask you as well. So, Ramayana has actually traveled across many countries in Southeast Asia. So the main plot and the characters, like the hero, heroine, and like you mentioned, the painted face, the villain, they remain the same. The French characters are more diverse. So in fact, one of the things that I learned today is that, Maricha and Surpanaka can be portrayed as clouds. And one such character who's had the maximum variations I've seen based on my reading is Hanuman. So he's given a very colorful personality compared to, like in many different versions. In India, he's almost a deity, but in other places where he has a more colorful personality. What are your thoughts on these?
Well, I think you see, I actually had asked Chaturong. Chaturong is a very respected choreographer, and I met him in 1978 at a Asia Pacific Dance Conference. When he conducted a workshop, and he was showing the Thai way of doing the Hanuman. Yeah, and I said, why your Hanuman actually encountered the mermaid, and it's very funny, you know. Then he said that, well, you need to have some comical elements in the dance drama. You cannot be all serious all the time. And then because the monkey dance and the Hanuman's soldiers and all that always draw laughter from the audience, because and they wanted to enhance the element. So he said that when they created it, they think that, well, it would be good, like, you know, Hanuman go to tease the mermaid and all that. And these scenes are always performed for tourists. You know, if you go to the restaurant that perform Ramayana and Thai classical dance and so on, these things is always play. The puppet show, you know, the Thai various type of puppet show also do this Hanuman and the mermaid, you know. And when we do the Chinese opera style Hanuman, you can see that the video just now, you have to tease Sita and all that. And also when we did the children drama version, we have Sugriva and Subali, you know. And again, I agree with Chaturong that, no, we wanted to have some elements of comedy, and therefore Hanuman is changed that way. And the golden deer, you see, if you have seen the Myanmar's version, you know, always by a strong young male dancer, you know, so it's get leaping and all that. And that's why when I did the opera version, when I found out that the Beijing opera actors can do that, so I use him as the golden deer. So I think in some cases it's I talked to the Supivon Van of Cambodia too. He said that sometimes it really depends on the actors that you have, you know.
So it's the flexibility of both the actors as well as the characters, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. So we do have a question from Mr. Nara.
Hi, thank you very much, Sheila. Thanks very much, Dr. Chua. It was a very fascinating talk, and I really enjoyed it very much. I wish I had a chance to, see this, in real life, the opera. I've got two questions. One is that, when the Hanuman character, it also reminded me of Sun Wukong, with the staff and all that. So was that any effort to make to differentiate and keep it distinct from that character? And also I've seen that sometimes in Balinese Ramayana they introduce new characters into the play or drama, additional ones out of the original characters. Did you have to introduce any to adapt to this opera? Thank you.
Yeah, very, very good question. You see, Sun Wukong, the Journey to the West, the Monkey King in the Journey to the West. You see, Ramayana story was traveled to China by the Buddhist sources, right? So it was the Buddhist monk that started to tell the story of Ramayana. So many Chinese scholars believe that the Wu Chenren, when he wrote the Journey to the West, he actually must have read, Ramayana, So many, like, Sun Wukong can transform into a fly or a girl or whatever, this skill of transformation is same as Hanuman, right? Same as Maricha. So the Sun Wukong's many skills are very similar to Hanuman. Okay. Now, when we do the when we presented Hanuman, there are some movement that is similar to Sun Wukong, but I told the actors that don't do it like entirely like Sun Wukong, because it is not Sun Wukong, So in what way, Hanuman treasure the friendship, and also keep his promises. And also he's very intelligent, right? When you go to Dandaka, he has to find a way. He has to he has to actually inspect, to find how to get out, how to get in, and he also remember that he has to uh, uh, be very gentle to Sita, because Sita might be frightened by his look, and therefore, in fact, in my version, it is Hanuman is to think to go to rescue her, but how do I make Sita believe that I'm sent by you? So he asked Rama to give him something to bring it to the palace, to bring to Ravana's place. You see, so and also I think when we show that when he saw Bharata, he was very very happy, because Bharata is such a gentle person, and so humble. So in our show, he and Bharata, the affection of Bharata is also presented. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much. And the other one was that did you have to introduce any new characters away from the original story? Yeah.
Actually, in my version, I try not to, because I try to be faithful to the original. But my main plot is really following the Surakarta styles of Wayang Wong very closely, because it's the form that I know very well, and it is also the form that I've seen many times. I'm never tired of seeing the Wayang Wong's Ramayana.
Okay, thank you.
And I tell you one thing, one China group from Zhoukou actually wrote to me in 2 years ago. They wanted me to direct for them. They also want to do Ramayana, but because of COVID, I cannot travel. But they are preparing it. They have learned the songs. They have do what the preparation I asked them to do. So as soon as I can travel, then you have a new Ramayana in China that you can go and travel. They can travel there and see it, or maybe they can come to Singapore to show us.
That would be great. We have a question from Arun.
Dr. Chua, absolutely delighted that you could oblige us, and you gave us such a rare insight into how we cross boundaries and we try to get into the skin of the other. Now, in your case, you have gotten into the skin of many others, not just one, which is truly amazing. And one thing that struck me is, you see, in most of Southeast Asia, in fact, I'm not sure about Vietnam, but all the other countries in ASEAN, they have their own Ramayana tradition.
Yes.
And especially Indonesia, where you started your life, and they have their Ramayana, and you are introducing another Ramayana to them, right? Now, can you share a little bit about the interactions when you introduce, and their tradition is very ancient too, it's not a recent one. So when you try to introduce your perception of Ramayana, which is again, as you yourself said, is from the Indian Ramayana stories that you learned very young. What were some of the interactions? What were some of the tensions, if any? Could you share that, please? Thank you.
My interaction with the Indonesian or the artists of the region is started from I was very young, and because I learned Javanese dance, and therefore when I told them that, I'm going to bring my Ramayana to your festival, they were so happy. That was 2013 when Indonesia's government hosted the 9 countries Ramayana festivals, in the Jogja. And I actually have lots of pictures of that festival. Tao Yong from Singapore also participated. So we have to have a draw to see who is doing what scene. You pick. They put 9 number, scene 1 to scene 9. So the scene we have to do is the Jatayu scene. We're very happy because that would showcase the Chinese opera and showcase the acrobatic skills of Hanuman. And so we know this. In the Thai Ramayana festival too, you have to pick which scene you are going to do. You have no idea what scene you're going to do, but we can do any scene anyway, right? So they saw our Ramayana. We saw the Ramayana. And it was really, there was also a conference, that Sam Mugianto representing Indonesia, Nick Tiong-san, represent Philippines. These are all very renowned scholars, So the audience, they just do not want to leave after the show because they see 9 countries over 3 nights, each night 3 countries, And the host country, they can have 100 monkeys. It was big scenes, big better scenes. That's one. So at the seminar, we talk about how wonderful that we have this shared heritage. Ramayana is a shared heritage of Vietnam, or of Southeast Asia, and Vietnam has of course Ramayana, because don't forget that Indian civilizations have very strong influence when Champa was in Vietnam, So the southern part of Vietnam also have Ramayana, So this idea of shared heritage was enhanced when we, the ASEAN Puppetry Association, celebrated its 10th anniversary. So we get 10 countries, puppeteers, dancers, musicians, dramatists together. And we rehearse together only for 10 days, because again, when we arrive in Jakarta, then we start, hey, you are doing what scene? You say, well, you decide. So we actually have a discussion, and then decided that who is doing which scene.
I want to share with you, Soo Pong, that we have plans to do this again under your leadership. We must do this in Singapore. In 1982, I tried to bring all 10 ASEAN countries to perform Ramayana, but just couldn't do it. But now we will do it with your blessings and with your guidance. I just need one final clarification, which you mentioned you will clarify, but you didn't. You said when you presented Ramayana in Stuttgart, it was set in China, and you said you will explain why it was set in China.
Oh yeah, because this is this story for the Chinese audience. We changed all the names actually. Rama becomes Ren Zhao, and Lakshmana becomes Ren Xian. And so the names are changed. Supanaka become Supano. Okay. So
you took a lot of poetic license. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Because if you are keeping the name like Rama, Sita, or that, then find it difficult, for some Chinese audience, because the costume is in Chinese costume, right? So we imagine it is an imaginary kingdom in ancient China, and then the Jatayu is the king of birds or queens of birds, So the Qian Niao Wang, actually the Jatayu sacrifice, the scenes of Jatayu being killed always touch the audience, And then we have we have a child audience in Vietnam. When he saw it, then he said, "Oh no, don't kill him!" He was shouting to Rawana, So our scenes, the Jatayu sacrifice scenes is very, very important scenes for the Chinese opera version.
Okay, thank you very much. I wonder whether there are any other questions, comments, even, and we have a few non-Indians here. Some of them I recognize straight away, and I'm very, very happy. Like some of my old friends are here.
But Arun, I hope that your ideas of 1982 become a reality.
Well, it will. Now that you are here with us, and I think a number of people who have heard you speak, I'm sure, share the same view that we have got to do this together and do it in Singapore, because I don't think anyone has ever done that. All 10 together. And now with your, you have done it in Italy, you have done it in Germany and China. Why not make it even bigger, right? Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, any more questions, Ilarigan?
We do have time for maybe one or two more questions. But Chua, there's one more question. I mean, this is from me. I think there may be a few more who might have the same doubt. It's that ignorant. I saw in those videos, there were two antennas for the heroes. What is the significance of those like long antennas? Because for us, Rama and Lakshmana always carry bows and arrows.
Yeah.
So in here we see the long antennas.
The feather.
Yeah.
The long one. Yeah. These are the headgear actually worn by the warriors. In Chinese opera. So those who are generals or warriors, only these characters have the long feather, because it is an extension of your costume. So it make the character bigger, you see. Yeah. So actually they are able to manipulate it, to shake it this way or that way. They can use their muscles to make it. So you can see that when Rama discovered that Sita is gone, so he was singing that song and shaking the feather, right? Very dramatic.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So is there anything, any other textual significance rather than the morphological or the theatrical significance? I mean, like as you mentioned, only warriors wear that long antennas.
Right. So it is because there are many skills to do it. You see, a lot of movements that we can do with that, and of course make these two character appear to be very much bigger. And that Beijing opera version, the Ramayana is only a 23 years old young actor. Yeah, he was very good. So I just graduated from Shanghai Drama Academy not long ago. When I wanted to use him, actually the company's seniors think that oh no, we should not use the young actor like that. But for me, many like Johnson Chu, when he joined my Ramayana, that was the first time he was acting, and I always believe that give the young people a chance, they will do it, and they did. Grooming young actors are always my aims.
May I just ask one more, Ilarigan?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Right now around the world there is this concept of cultural misappropriation. That you can't do a black actor, a black character if you're not black, right? In this sense, you have now crossed so many boundaries, and you have appropriated one of the most ancient and cherished epics of Indians, and you have taken to the others, and you have also, in a way, reinterpreted this Ramayana. Were you ever accused of cultural misappropriation in any of your journeys or attempts to present and represent Ramayana?
Well, we see in the in the big festival like the one in Indonesia or in India itself, nobody raised that issues, and when the Indian delegation came to Singapore in 1990 in 1998, I think. Yeah, I think around that time, Ministry of Foreign Affairs actually asked us to present it for our Indian officials, delegates, and they were very happy. They said that this is amazing, So I think we have not encountered this because we also perform in the festivals in Thailand and other places. All the Ramayana experts were there, and all of them were there.
Well, that gives me confidence that we can try and do this even in this new century.
Right.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
I think it comes with the evidence and the sincerity. So I think which was very clearly evident. And to talk about Ramayana, we can go on and on, just like his resume. But Dr. Chua, thanks again for
Thank you.
answering all these questions. They were very intriguing questions. So we will have to actually come to a close with regards to the questions. And now, may I invite Nimi, who is from NLB Tamil Language Services, to introduce the book collection in NLB on Ramayana. That's a vast collection of materials.
Some of the titles were actually recommended by Professor Chua. Okay, all these titles, English, Chinese, Malay, and Tamil, is available at the library. Okay, we have the different. The second was actually Asian variations in Ramayana. So different ways Ramayana was depicted in different Asian countries, and then the Ramayana tradition in Southeast Asia. Next slide, please. Get traces of the Ramayana and Mahabharata in Javanese and Malay literature. Okay, and then we have the Valmiki Ramayana. We have 3 different series for this. Next one. Okay, the Ramayana tradition in Asia. The first book, and then the Ramayana, the sacred epic of gods and demons. The Ramayana revisited, wonderful mysteries of Ramayana. Ramayana 108. So whatever need to know about Ramayana, this book is for you. And the Ramayana and the Malay shadow play. This book is very interesting. You should get it. And okay, next slide. Okay, these are the Chinese titles available. You can read it. It's in Hanyu Pinyin and the Chinese characters. So okay, the next slide. And the titles in Malay. Okay, Ramayana compared with Mahabharata and the Wayang Gedek. Okay, these books are quite interesting, so you should borrow it. Next one. Okay, these are the Tamil titles. We have different versions of Ramayana, Kamban Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana.
Could I request all of you to take some time and provide your feedback for today's session? This feedback will definitely help us to understand the pulse, and so that we can actually ensure that programs of your interest, programs that will actually treat your senses, can actually be produced continuously by CSTC. Dr. Chua, thank you so much again for your very insightful talks. Here, what moves us so much is your passion and the childlike enthusiasm, the energy when you speak about your experiences, your challenges and your victories. It's highly inspiring for the art practitioners and others alike to cross barriers through arts. So the key takeaways for me is definitely, the childhood memories allows one to have the basic ability to connect. So I think we definitely need to expose our younger generation as early as possible to our different cultures and the tenets. Second, the inspirations can come from anywhere and everywhere. Passion and an open mind opens the previously untapped doors of the mind and society, and opportunities will start flowing in. A couple of other interesting pointers that I noted. One, the similarities between the different stagecrafts of different cultures. Like Prof mentioned, Sheng, Dan, Jing, and Chow, the comic characters, the young male, female, and violent characters. In the Indian setup, the Tamil setup also, we do have the Raja part, who's a hero, the Sri part, who's a heroine, the Kala part, who's a villain, and also we have the clowns as Katyankarans or buffoons. And like I mentioned earlier, Surpanaga and Maricha presented as clowns is a very interesting thing. And finally, creation is always a teamwork. It is important for the team to share the ideals and face the challenges. Dr. Chua has been a driving force behind the resurgence of Chinese opera, not only in Singapore, but in exporting his version to the rest of the world. Singapore is a land of many fascinating hues and cultures. Dr. Chua deserves our gratitude and applause for being one of the torchbearers for intercultural understanding and appreciation through its arts. Understanding and appreciation of each other's cultures is a core principle on which not just Singapore, but entire humanity is built on. Thanks again, Dr. Chua. This event, so technically accessible and comfortable for all viewers, would not be possible without the intercultural, interstructural, budgetary and moral support of our partner NLB, National Library Board of Singapore, Center for Singapore Tamil Culture, and your audience. Thanks again, and we hope you will join for future events. Nandri, vanakkam.